Welcome to your favorite show of all time, the greatest, the Huddle House. We're finally back on with a guest for the first time in what feels like a decade, Ty. I feel like I'm hearing a new voice for once rather than just my own and yours. So, welcome on the so-called proclaimed author now, Mr. Jimmy Clark.
What's up, guys?
Hey,
He's
hey, hey.
uh
Welcome on.
he's he's creating some competition for us, Ty. Because like I said yesterday, we got the verbal word, but he's taking over the written word.
Yeah, just had to meld. We had to meld our minds here, I think, and create something that's going to be really good. So that's what we're looking forward to doing here.
I
Yeah,
love the weekly. So
I'm glad you all like it. I appreciate everything y'all do with this, with the Huddle House and having guests on so everybody has a chance to speak here and there. But I thought maybe it'd be something fun. When I saw it on the internet, I was like, oh, this looks like something that'd be pretty cool to do and fun for me to put together. So I
mhm.
figured everybody would enjoy reading it. And if you have 5 to 10 minutes, take a little bit of time to enjoy something different with the league.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. I love the flag on the play. I can't wait to see. Can't wait to see this week. I know we already have a candidate for one with what happened earlier today.
Yeah, yeah. Tonight, this week should be out tonight. A little bit after this.
Oh,
Okay.
sweet.
Nice. I caught a stray, man. Uh Absolute stray. The funny thing is Jess loves that picture and I'm like, she had to like beg me to post it. I was like, I look so bad. She's just convinced. I was like, I don't have a good grip. I look like I'm about to fall over. Like, don't post this picture. She had it as her screensaver for so long. Like when she unlocks her phone, it's just blam, like that picture. I'm just like, gosh
Well,
dang, this thing's
it
gonna
seems
haunt my
like
life.
Marcus loves it. Marcus seems
Yeah.
to love it too.
I didn't even tell him that picture existed because I didn't want anyone
Um,
knowing unless they saw our page. He
if
found that thing on his own.
if you think
Um,
about it, he had to have that bullet in the chamber for so long. I don't know why.
Oh,
I don't know why he waited this long to drop it, but like, there's no way he hasn't had that ever since it got posted. Which is
uh,
the best
didn't
thing.
wait for a matchup, a trade, a move in fantasy, anything personal. He just middle of the day on a Thursday.
It's a
Yeah, I
random
just opened up my
Thursday.
phone, seeing something about JJ coming back, and everything, and I'm like, he's probably just making some news comment, and then I see my face, and I'm like, where did this come from? Completely. I mean, I do a lot of things in that chat that's completely provokes, but that was so unprovoked. I was just minding my business, drinking my coffee. I see that thing come out of nowhere. I'm like, what did I do to deserve that? Uh,
Funny stuff.
Flag on the play. I need to see that included this week, James.
I gotcha. I can maybe make that happen.
All right, why don't you tell the people what we're doing today, Matt, and
Yeah.
start a little bit.
So we're gonna do our best to fit this in one session, guys. I know you like hearing me and talk for an hour, Ty talk for an hour, 10 minutes, but I don't know if we got the time for it. So we're gonna try our best to limit how long we spend on each person. But we're gonna do kind of a mid-season playoff projection. So we're really preferably gonna spend most of the time on the playoff teams, but the teams we're predicting. But we're also gonna kind of go through that 7 to 14 range as well. Just kind of we're predicting at the end of the year what we think the final 1 to 14 standings will look like based on how our teams are currently made up and just what we think each guy will do. So we're each just going to kind of go through, say how we think our seating will work, and how it'll look going into the postseason. So yeah, that's going to be the episode. So let's go ahead and just dive in. It's not wasting any time. I think we're more than likely all going to agree on who the number one seed will be in this playoffs, but maybe not. I'm going to go ahead and say Mr. Commish, our guest, is going to be the number one seed.
Well, I appreciate that. I as well put myself number one. I don't like doing it. I just was looking I took a quick peek the top couple teams schedules and how most of my bye weeks that kind of matter the most are this week against Caleb. So if I can
You
pull out
lucky
this win
son of
against
a
Caleb,
gun, man.
yeah, I'm trust me. I looked at it when I went to like a week forward last week and I was like, no ETN, no McCaffrey. I was like, oh dear God, who do I play? And I saw it, I was like, oh, thank God. I was like, hopefully I don't end up. No offense. I'm so sorry, Ty. I don't want to be the other loss.
Someone come join me, please. It's lonely at this
I
point.
don't, I don't want to.
I really need someone to talk to. No, it's not. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. his roster is so brutal. It's not going to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
you can
Justin
watch
Fields has made it
football.
almost
You can watch
impossible.
football in peace. Jags are on a bye. You don't got to worry about them losing or anything. You basically have a bye with Caleb, so you can watch football this week. Just enjoy the games. You don't have any stress.
Just pray for no injuries. That's the only thing I'm doing this week.
Yeah. So yeah, you got a squad. Definitely something to be proud of. So got you as the number one seed. Ty, are you in concurrence?
I'm in agreements. Yeah, I have James as the 1 seed. I think that his depth and his schedule, like we talked about, and buys it seems conducive to maintaining this spot. So I have him there because not only does he have the record right now, but he also has points forced in his favor. So I think that should stay pretty consistent the rest of the way through. So yeah, I'm with you.
Awesome. So here's where it gets, a little bit more. We might have a little bit more differences. Maybe we'll see. Is after him, the number two seed. Um, I guess I'll kick this one off. I'll let you go kick the next one off. But I'm stealing the first spot again. I'm gonna say Marcus gets the number two seed this year. I think that he's the only one loss behind James. Jordan's been kind of free falling. Lucas has got a squad who's really starting to pick it up, but I think has so much ground to make up just because of his start to the season. I think Marcus has got a lot of his key buys out of the way. Still a few left, but I think he's got a lot of them, out of the way. And I think he's going to continue to get good play from Austin Eckler, and Brees has really been getting it going. And I think the Ravens have a really tough schedule remaining, but it's against a lot of high scoring teams where I think Lamar's going to have to throw a lot and use his legs a lot. So I think Lamar has some high scoring weeks ahead. So I think Marcus will find a way to squeak in as the two seed.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you there, Matt. I think he's honestly the biggest threat to James's 1 seed right now, just because he's still set to get Justin Jefferson back, and he's managed to keep a really good pace, even without him, not just record wise, but also points scored wise. I think the biggest threat to you and Marcus James would be Lucas, but I think with his 4-4 record, it's hard for me to envision you dropping 3 games. Hard for me to envision Marcus dropping 2 games to where that points forced is really going to make that much of a difference. So I think record-wise, you're in a good spot there to maintain that positioning. So I really think it is going to come down to either you or he for that 1 seed. But I'm going with you because you already have the leg up with the record, and I'm going to have Marcus in the 2 spot as well.
Yeah, This is one of the ones I put Marcus 2 as well. I think Jefferson coming back even without Cousins, if he's not the number one runaway receiver he was before, I think he can still at worst be like a top 15 guy, which adds a lot to Marcus's roster where it's at now, especially with his running backs getting healthier and starting to show some production. Lamar doing his thing. I was like, I think he's going to be pretty solid. I think it could be tight, especially when I was looking at Marcus's schedule, because he has a few nice matchups coming up here, like Jordan, Mitri, and Jake, so he can get, hopefully for himself, wins there. But then weeks 12 and 13 and even 14 for him, it's a real rough stretch that'll kind of decide the seeding on who gets buys, because me and him play each other week 12, then him and Lucas play each other week 13, and then he plays Austin week 14. So those last 3 weeks, we're really going to be seeing exactly how the seeding plays out amongst the top, not only the top 6, but even the bye weeks for the top 2 teams.
Yeah, trying to jockey for position there. And I believe 13 is going to be Lamar's bye, which is going to be a tough one for him, especially to play Lucas on.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely tough.
But okay, we're in agreement there. So unanimous, number 1 and 2 seed so far, James and Marcus. Number 3 seed. Why don't I kick this one off?
Yeah, you kick it off. I kicked off the first 2.
I'm going to go with Lucas here. This is where I see Lucas coming in because I think that his depth is just insane, where to the point where I don't think buys are ever going to totally cripple him. I know he has a lot of Eagles. I'm not sure when the Eagles buy is, but I think he has the depth and explosiveness to make a good run and make up whatever. I mean, the only person he's really behind right now is Jordan and you, Matt. And I think that Jordan's roster is just not built thoroughly enough to maintain kind of the positioning he's in. So I see him kind of sliding down, and I think Lucas is going to keep making up these games. And all he has to do is have the next best record as to, whatever. If he's tied with anybody, he's probably going to be the highest out of them because of his points forced. So I think that it's natural for me to want to put him in the 3 spot because I think that it gets a little bunched up after the top 2 record wise, and I can see that evening out more so. And I think whenever that happens, he'll be at the top of the bunch.
Yeah, that's who I have third as well. He's another one that when I was looking at schedule, he's got some favorable matchups. Like not only because he has that depth and can put up, as we've seen, 2 separate times now, he's been over 165, which is almost impossible for anyone to top in a week when you explode like that. I think the only thing that really will decide it for him is if he can get that consistent production from running back, because while he has that depth at receiver, he can only play so many guys even into the flexes. If Swift keeps up what he's doing and Bijan comes kind of like into his own, maybe it's better with Heineke. I don't know how that'll affect him yet. And Josh Jacobs hasn't even been the best version of himself yet. So it kind of really depends on those 3 guys because there's not much depth behind it. So I think that'll kind of decide if he ends up in that 3 spot or in a spot in maybe number 2 through 6, anywhere in that range. But I just think his depth top to bottom and his schedule kind of favor him to at least be a top 3 seed.
Yeah, I also had Lucas at 3. So far, there's been 0 disagreements. So not the most entertaining episode, guys. We're doing our best, but we promised we did not talk about our seedings before the show started. So this happened to be lining up. I think Lucas has got 3 wins. I'm very confident in, and I don't want to create any rivalries or any bad blood. But I'm looking at his remaining schedule. There's 3 that I'm very confident he wins, and then there's 3 that are a little tougher. But I still think he probably wins at least one of those. And so if he finishes out 4-2 and goes, well, I know he probably needs to win 5 out of his remaining 6 to get the 3 seed. But I think he'll do it probably with the way his roster is built right now and the way he's playing. So yeah, feeling pretty good about Lucas at 3. So Commissioner, you kick off number 4 seed.
So I think I don't know exactly, but I have a feeling this might be a little bit different because this is where I started to see like different scenarios for different teams kind of in this middle range here because there's a lot of 4-4 teams that could make their way to this spot. There's a lot of teams a little just ahead of them. It's a big group of teams right now at this point of the season. And I went with Austin at the 4 spot just because I kind of see with adding Kamara to what he has when David Montgomery's healthy, which I think could be as soon as a week or 2 away, along with Amon-Ra, Justin Herbert, and Keenan Allen. Like he's got a good, like everybody I feel like has liked his roster at different times, and adding Kamara the way he's playing right now, I think could change that and really boost him up just above that middle of the pack.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in agreement with you actually. So there's no dissension for me on this one. I have Austin in my 4th spot as well, and for very similar reasons. I think he's going for it, and getting Kamara is a really nice shot in the arm to that team. I mean, he's adding like he could be his highest weekly scorer for the foreseeable future, and he's a guy he just picked up, and he's been doing well this year without him. So, I think that he makes sense to me to climb out of this 4 spot and really be coming out on top. And so I have him in my 4 spot as well.
Well, that's like he even has JSN who's finally starting to come on. So like JSN just adds another piece of depth if he actually, who knows, jumps Lockett or just takes a few targets. He doesn't need a lot. He's shown it in these last few games. He hasn't had a million targets, but he's kind of just adding another flex play for him to put in with Puka slacks off a little bit.
Yeah. All right, Matt. What are you going to
I've got myself.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm going to bet on myself. I know Austin's team is looking good. I got a 1-game lead on them, and I'm predicting I'm taking a 2-game lead on them this week. It's going to be a close game. Maybe I'm going to jinx it, but I voted on myself in the poll. I'm going to believe in myself. I think I will find a way to win. I know he's probably going to get 40 from Kamara going against Chicago, but I think top to bottom, Pierce against Tampa is a tough matchup. I think Taysom Hill very well. I mean, he either goes off or he lays a dud. Hopefully, he lays a dud. Jason against at Baltimore is going to be kind of tough. So I think my roster top to bottom has better matchups. I think I find a way to win, and I'll take a 2-game lead. And then you look at my remaining schedule. I very well could lose to Chris just because I have so many buys that week. But I think I'll take down Brandon with his complete roster overall. He just did. And I still have Caleb on the schedule too. So I can beat Austin this week. I think those are 2 wins right there. That gets me to That gets me to 8 wins right there, and then I just have to win one of the remaining 3 games against either Ty, Carter, or Chris. You know, and if I get to 9 wins, I'll be the 4 seed. So in my mind, so I think I do it. I think I find a way to win one of those 3, and yeah, I think I get the 4 seed.
It's a pretty pivotal
Well,
match.
if it makes you feel, go ahead.
I was just saying it is a pretty pivotal matchup for you guys this week when you consider that seeding balancer. I hadn't thought about that till now. Yeah, James, you were saying.
I was like, if it makes Matt feel any better, him and Austin were the 2 I was kind of going back and forth for on that spot, and I put you in the 5 spot because of it, because your roster's solid. Like, it's not much worse than his at all. You guys have similar strengths, just different guys in those spots. If Cup has a big week, it helps you. If Puka has a big week, it helps him. It's just different guys, different weeks for him. It really just depends on the matchups at that point. And like you said, this week, I think him not having his Lions could be a big difference in that matchup. I know you don't have Debo, but you've kind of had no Debo for a few weeks now, so it hasn't been like he's insanely affected your lineup lately, especially with Pittman stepping up. But I just think it'll be interesting down the stretch. You guys are going to be battling this week. Could really just help decide that down in these last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think my board is looking very similar to James's here. I have you in the 5 spot as well, Matt, and I think it makes sense whenever you put it in terms of you betting on yourself to beat him this week. I picked Austin to win the game this week, so I think that's kind of where my thinking is, that if he wins this and you guys are stride for stride, I think I just was leaning towards his roster being something that I liked a little bit more down the stretch. So I have you in the 5 spot. You've got yourself a nice record so far, and I think that like James was saying with Debo, you've been doing it without one of your better playmakers. And Pat just had a terrible game last week.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
I texted Lucas and I was like, if him and Pacheco were gonna lay duds any week, I might as well have it be on the week I got beat by 70, because
Yeah, no
it wasn't gonna make a difference, so it's kind of just like I might have made it look like a little bit less respectful.
That's what I said.
What?
That's what I said. How I put it in the chat, I think the week before, or whatever, when I lost to you, and somebody messaged me, was like, "Oh, if you would have played Cousins," I was like, "I would have lost by less than a point. I would have been pissed." I was like, "I'm glad I didn't play him. I'm happy he was on the bench."
Yeah. Makes it a little easier to swallow sometimes.
Yeah.
And then for you,
they're both liable for one dud here and there. I might as well be on the week where it has zero impact on me winning anyway.
Yeah.
Sure.
It would really hurt to lose by 5 points and have them like lay a dud that week, when it's like if they had just been their normal selves, I win. Then it hurts a little worse. So yeah, I wasn't too worried about it. It's just a bad game. It happens.
So do you have Austin in your 5 spot, or is yours different?
I have Austin in my 5 spot. So we both have the same 4 and 5s. I just am betting on myself to win this week. And if I have a 2-game lead, I'm counting on myself to keep it. But I do agree, if he beats me this week, looking at our remaining schedules, I would take him in the 4 and me in the 5. So I actually agree with your analysis. I'm just betting myself to win. So yeah. So
right, this
yeah, I
is
do
the
have Austin at
spot.
5.
Yeah.
He's got a good team. I don't have much to add to what you guys said. I think his team's prime, playing well. I think he obviously found a huge diamond in the rough in Puka, and that was huge. Got a future stud for years to come for in the 3rd round. I mean, I'm so jealous. And then that move to get Kamara for the price he got him for is really remarkable. So I like what he's doing. So I think he's kind of held back a little bit though by his other running backs. I mean, getting Kamara was huge, but Pierce has been such a bust this year. I don't foresee that getting like a whole lot better. He might get a little better, but I don't foresee it being a game changer necessarily. And AJ Dillon has been kind of irrelevant. Chuba Hubbard looks like he might be something, but I still don't think he's someone that you're super thrilled to have in your RB2 spot. So I think that's his main weakness.
Mm-hmm. So number 6, this is the last playoff spot here, and then I think there's a lot of teams vying for this position in our minds and jockeying for it. So why don't we let Mr. Commish lead us off on this one?
Okay.
All right. So this one, another one, because of how many teams are in this area. I think this week and next week will kind of help clear it up a bit, just because I think teams will see if they get a win or a loss over these next couple weeks, it'll affect their view on like, oh, am I selling a little more towards the deadline? Am I buying in some more, thinking I can make a push to get into the bottom of the playoffs? So I think it's hard predicting right now, but I actually went with Ty at 6, just looking at rosters, looking at schedules. It's real tight. I was torn on what I was doing there between like you, Jeremy, and Carter, the 3 teams I feel like that really have a chance. That even though like Jeremy got rid of Tyreek Hill, he's on a 3-game win streak. It's ridiculous. Like AJ Brown's been insane in that. But with your team, I feel like if your team stays together right now as constructed and with the schedule coming up and everything, I think there's a way that this roster with some top heavy performances from your running back room, if Taylor keeps increasing in work, Travis Kelce being Travis Kelce, not last week's version, that it's not out of the realm of possibility of you making that push to the last spot.
James, you're trying to get me to sell a first round pick and go all in, bro. Careful with what you're saying. No. I appreciate that. I actually have Jeremy for my pick. I think I'm predicting him to get in there because, yeah, like you mentioned, traded Tyreek Hill and then went on a tear. His teams looked really good. It makes you wonder what he would. I mean, he couldn't have been any better if he had kept Tyreek, but because he would have won 3 straight anyways. But it does make me wonder. But I like the way a few things have broken for him so far just here recently. One, that Joe Burrow's looking like himself again. That's going to be a huge boost for his team. He doesn't have to play Jordan Love. He's not really been getting much from his running backs, which is disappointing. And Miles Sanders has kind of been a bust this year. But I think that maybe Lenny Fournette gives him some playable games now with Buffalo. But the main thing I want to talk about was Drake London. I think he's actually a big winner of this Desmond Ridder getting benched because Taylor Heineke's sling that ball. So I think
I can attest to that with Terry.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. So I think he's going to get a nice bump from just having another solid contributor at wide receiver that could be some explosive games alongside AJ Brown. I think he just has a nice roster that's got some depth to it and a high end explosive upside. So I'm picking him I think he's going to get that 6th spot. How about you, Matt?
Yeah. I'm so torn. I didn't really know who to put, and the more I think about it, and so to be completely candid with you guys, I didn't really look at everybody's remaining schedules when I made these picks. I kind of just looked at just like where they were kind of set up and then breaking down their roster. Didn't really go into like all the schedule stuff. But now that I am kind of doing it live on air, I think Jordan's gonna find a way to get in. I just think he's got such a big lead. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I just don't see how he can screw this up 2 years in a row. Like start off 6-0. I mean, that just seems impossible. Like he's got such a big lead, and maybe I'm jinxing him. I don't know, but I look at his remaining schedule. He's got Brandon on there left. Who I mean, Brandon. I know he still has a few good players, but he did sell like 2 of his best assets. It seems to be kind of semi rebuilding, and so that's a pretty winnable game. He's got Mitri, who Mitri's been looking pretty good, obviously, but still think that's a very winnable game. And he's got Jake, who we all know Jake sucks. So, I mean, if you just win those 3 games,
got personal out of nowhere. He was using like actual reasons and then just went straight in. Jake.
I thought Marcus put that photo up.
yeah, I thought Marcus put the photo up.
But I'm just saying, man, like if he just wins those 3 games, he's at 9 wins, and like if you get 9 wins, you're pretty much in the playoffs. So like now I do attest that if he has 8 wins, he's not going to win very many points for battles, and someone can squeak in over him. But if he gets 9 wins, he very well might be the 3 or 4 seed. So I just think he's got such a big lead. I think he's going to find a way to squeak in.
It's definitely possible. I mean, he's got 2 games up on 6th place right now, and it remains to be seen. Definitely remains to be seen.
Yeah. But moving
I'm
to
not
number
gonna
7.
lie, I have him at 9.
You have him at 9.
I have him at 9. I feel like I'm a hater, but I just see the wheels falling off similar to last year, even with like Josh Allen trying to do all he can to backpack the team to the playoffs.
Yeah. So Ty,
how far down are you going here?
We could. I mean, let's just say our next picks, but just do them fast. Like, let's
So
not go into
we're going all the way
analysis.
down to 14.
Yeah, let's just do it, but let's just go fast. Like,
Oh,
I'm
we're
not
hurting.
gonna give too much
Just rattle off who
analysis.
you have.
Yeah. So I
Rattle
mean,
off who you have and have a small discussion.
number 7, I got Ty. Just to keep putting him in the first loser spot.
Have I
Yes,
gotten
right
that
there.
both years in a row?
Yeah,
It seems like it.
it's a
It
streak.
feels like it too.
I think Ty gets that spot again, keeps the streak alive.
It's tough.
I have Carter there this year. I have Carter at 7. Mainly
Jeremy. I feel like this is the first time we have something all different.
Yeah, I went Carter there because I think that he's going to keep a nice pace. It's just that I think his ceiling is kind of handicapped with the Browns' offense and Deshaun and Amari Cooper. I think that's going to be tough on him. And
When Olave is really kind of disappointed the past couple weeks, it's been tough for him to reach his ceiling of points with that.
yeah, that's been the big kicker. Is that was supposed to be his stud and his star guy, and he's not been reaching that ceiling. And even if you want to go further, like Tony Pollard hasn't either. He's kind of
No.
exactly what people were expecting. So I'm just kind of putting him at 7 first spot out, which stinks, but that's just where I see the chips falling for him.
Yeah, I got him at 8. He's next in line for me, like right at 8. Like I said, I think 6 through 8 is a real battle for that last spot.
8 is where I put Jordan. I kind of predicting a similar type of fall as you did, James. I didn't have him all the way at 9.
Yeah.
8 is
Wait, James, who did you have at 7?
Jeremy.
Oh, Jeremy. Okay. Gotcha. So you got Jeremy at 7. Yeah, I got Ty, and Ty, you had Carter at 7. Yeah, I have Carter at 8. So similar, same as James there. I think he's one spot below you, Ty. I think you're able to kind of make up that loss you have on him right now, like that one game back, and I think you'll make it up and leapfrog him because of points scored. But yeah, I think he'll finish at 8.
okay.
And then moving on to number 9, who you got, Ty?
Myself. This is where I put myself at 9.
Okay.
Because I think it's just going to be hard to. I hear what you guys are saying, like, and I appreciate it, but I still have a lot of buys out there left, and I have to play James, I think, next week, and I don't have Tua, so I'm gonna have to start Gardner Minshew against New England, which is just not good. Like that matchup feels like it's gonna be pretty tough. I still have to play Lucas. And I think I'm probably still have a couple other tough ones down the stretch. So I
You
just
got to play me too.
I'm point taken.
Yeah, earlier when Matt said he had some winnable games, but he wasn't trying to talk bad, he just didn't want to say it in front of your face. I think that's what happened here.
I was wondering which side of the line I fell on. And I got the sense I did. I have myself at 9. I just think I'm in too big of a hole. I've had some unfortunate breaks this year, and I think it just is going to kind of be where it lands me, which sucks, but that's where I have myself.
Less painful than 7, though.
I mean, I guess, yeah.
I got Jeremy at 9. I think we all have the same guys in that like 6 through 9 spot like space. It's just which guy gets each spot.
So you're saying there's 4 guys competing for one spot essentially.
Yes,
that's tough. That's real.
Seems
tough.
that way, yeah. Because like I said before, I got Jordan at 9. It could be difficult for him to fall that far, like you guys said, with the lead he has, and especially like this time around, it's Josh Allen. If James Cook can still be solid, Brandon Ayuk, like a few better pieces this time around. I just don't know if the overall roster, especially if he has any more buys, pop up over these next few weeks that he can overcome.
Yeah.
And then 10, I think I have the surprise team kind of, at least the past few weeks with Mitri. I think he can make his way to 10, kind of with the teams down there struggling. A few teams ahead of him, like Brandon, trying to almost tank their way down a little bit lower with moving pieces on. I just think if he gets Achane back and he performs, along with, I know Addison won't be quite as effective as he's been, but it just seems like he has enough to have these weeks of 110 to 120, somewhere in that range, that can give him a chance at a win any week.
Yeah, I mean, Cortland's been playing good. Josh Downs looks like the real deal. Yeah, Achane's obviously amazing, and Dak's been playing pretty decent recently the last few weeks. So I have Mitri at 10 as well.
I actually have Chris coming up at 10 here, and I know that would be him
Whoa.
making up a couple games, but I feel like his roster is really solid and good. I feel like he's just been getting hosed a couple times with these super close losses. I know that Mitri's team has really been coming on lately, but I think that there could be a bit like he's playing with a lot of rookies and they've been really exploding right now. But I think that whenever Montgomery comes back, that's going to cut into Gibbs a little bit. And I think whenever JJ comes back, that's going to cut into Addison a little bit. Plus, like not having Kirk Cousins there is definitely going to hurt him as well. And I don't think Dak is going to play as lights out as he did last week, every week either. So I think he's taken a lot of steps forward, but I think I like Chris's roster a little more. So I have Chris jumping him at 10. I have Mitri at 11, though.
I have Chris at 11, so we just have those flip-flopped.
Yeah, that's what I got Chris at 11. I think in this range of these teams, like anywhere from 10 to 14, he has like the most impressive of guys except for that quarterback spot because like receivers alone with DK, Diggs, Mike Evans, like no roster down here has like a trio like that you can just show. And even like they're not producing at all, but the names of Aaron Jones, Najee Harris, and those guys like that, I think that's really what's been holding him back. And I'm not sure if they're going to bounce back or not. And I feel like that's the only reason I have him at 11, just below Mitri.
Yeah, well, I think it's also that right now Chris is 2-6 and Mitri's 4-4. So I think it's just like
2 games to make up
game difference. I mean, I think that's the big problem. I do think Chris's team is gonna be better the remainder of the season. I just don't know if he's 2 games better. I think Mitri's got too big of a lead.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
But then I do got Chris at 11. Moving on to 12, that's where I have Brandon.
Same.
Yeah, I have 12 for me is Jake.
Okay.
Yeah, I threw Brandon there just with the amount that he's selling off his roster is really taking away some of the firepower I think he has there. He still has like Jamar Chase, who could always explode and like single-handedly win him a week. So that's why I don't have him lower, even though it is kind of the bottom. But Trevor Lawrence and Calvin Ridley and Jamar Chase, those are kind of his guys the rest of the way, and he's going to be retooling from there. So he's in an interesting spot, going to be a big offseason and tough to, it's weird. Like we're in uncharted waters now. Like he's probably, knock on wood, he does not look like a playoff team right now. I know all it takes is him getting the playoffs and stuff happens. Like it happens, but like it does not seem like he's going to be a playoff team. So I don't know. It's going to be a first for the league this year when it gets down to it. It looks like
he might be having some shipping fees. We might have to pay for the trophy.
Look, I'm just happy. I'm just happy I don't have to face him in the playoffs. Hopefully, because he beat me in the semifinals the first year of this league, and then he beat me in the championship last year. I don't want to be anywhere near his team come playoff time. No chance. I don't care who's on the team.
Lamar would go for 72 points if he plays you in the playoffs and find a way to win.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so
I guess you had him at 13.
Yeah, I have him at 13. I think we all have Caleb last just because that's what he's wanted. The prophecy is coming true, and he's going to enjoy his plethora of picks going into this upcoming draft. I'm sure his scouting has been in full effect since the season started.
I still think he's going to take assuming he has picks 1 and 2, assuming Jake finishes next to last, I think he is going to take Marvin Harrison with Jake's pick just to rub it in. And take someone else with number 1.
Well, be that as it may, I have Jake at 13. I think he has been doing a good job of retooling and getting some assets for the future, selling off some of his guys. But it just leaves a roster that kind of is not super explosive or it's relying on a lot of youth, I think, and then some unproven guys in some areas. So knock on wood, please. Dear goodness, I play him this week. Let me not say anything and put that out. But it's the name of the game. We got to make rankings. So that's where I land.
Yeah, I have him at 13 as well. And then we all have Caleb at last. So I don't think Caleb cares one bit. He'll enjoy putting up his 47-point weeks for the remainder of the season.
I don't know. He's projected 69 this week.
I want to see him get sub 40. I really want to see him get sub 40. Have the Bears had a bye yet? No. That week he might get sub 40 because then he won't have.
13. Week 13.
and there's no quarterbacks to pick up on waivers, and he doesn't have a backup. His backup's Bagent, who he's been playing. He can't play Fields or
That's
Bagent. He
true.
might only put up 30 fantasy points.
Yeah. Man. Oh, no.
He's getting 15 of his 45 from that position alone.
Well, that was the
Ugh.
show. A good discussion. I think the guys will definitely get a kick out of, especially the guys who are in the 4, 5, 6, 7, and everybody below category, because we were all in agreement on the first 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah.
So, should be interesting to see how it shakes out down the stretch.
For sure. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Stretch. 6 more games. We'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah, hopefully so.
All right. Well,
I hope to be
we'll
looking
catch you guys
down
later.
from the top.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Hey, good show. We'll get this out there, and look out for Commish's email or newsletter coming out later on.
I'm excited to read it.
All right, Jeff.
Sir.
Hopefully I get justice on that flag on the play.
All right, y'all.
All right. See ya.
All right.